Welcome back, anime enthusiasts. Ready to revisit the delightfully demonic world of Babyls School? Whether you need a refresher before diving into Season 2, or you're curious about what all the hype is about, buckle up for the wildest school year in the Netherworld. We're breaking down every single episode of Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun Season 1, from Iruma's accidental adoption by a demon grandpa to his rise as the school's most accidentally famous student.
"
14-year-old Iruma Suzuki is the ultimate pushover, a boy literally incapable of saying no to any request, which his scumbag parents exploit relentlessly. Things take a supernatural turn when they sell his soul to a demon named Sullivan, who whisks Iruma away to the Netherworld. But instead of being devoured, Iruma is adopted as Sullivan's beloved grandson because Sullivan's jealous of his demon friends bragging about their grandkids. Enrolled at Babyls Demon School, Iruma must keep his human identity secret or become lunch. On his first day, Sullivan, who happens to be the school director, forces Iruma to deliver the first-year representative speech instead of the rightful speaker, Asmodeus Alice. The speech is actually a dangerous protection spell that terrifies everyone. When Asmodeus challenges Iruma to a duel for the insult, Iruma's superhuman dodging skills, honed by years of evading his parents' dangerous schemes, make him look invincible. He accidentally knocks Asmodeus out with a German suplex while saving a girl from injury, and just like that, the story spreads. Iruma is a legend. Asmodeus declares himself Iruma's loyal servant, and Sullivan couldn't be prouder. After demonstrating his truly demonic appetite at breakfast, Iruma tries to skip school but caves when Sullivan reveals more thoughtful gifts. Today's challenge: summoning magical familiars to determine their demonic rank and class placement. Their advisor, Niberius Kalego, already despises Iruma for being Sullivan's spoiled grandson. Asmodeus summons an impressive fire-breathing gorgon snake, but Iruma's human blood lacks demonic power. His summoning circle accidentally hijacks Niberius's demonic seal, transforming the fearsome teacher into Iruma's familiar, a tiny, adorable, fluffy owl with bat wings and horns. The students assume Iruma must be godlike to bind a teacher, skyrocketing his fame even higher. Sullivan gleefully informs everyone that familiar contracts are unbreakable and last a full year. Niberius becomes bedridden from the humiliation, and Iruma's rank remains undetermined. Before leaving, Iruma encounters a hyperactive girl named Clara, whom Asmodeus warns him to avoid. Asmodeus explains Clara is the class weirdo everyone avoids, but Iruma, compelled by the word please, ends up playing with her. Clara reveals her magical pockets can replicate any object she sees, which other students have been exploiting to get free food and treats. She admits she's used to bribing people to be her friends, and when she tries the same with Iruma, he refuses. Instead, he tells her he wants to be her friend without bribes, which makes Clara so overwhelmingly happy that she attacks the manipulative students by throwing a drinks machine at them and using Asmodeus as a paintball dodgeball target. It's chaotic, destructive, and the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Having never had friends before, Iruma questions whether Asmodeus and Clara truly are his friends. The trio visits the school snack stall where Clara gets in trouble. The owner accuses her replicating pockets of being shoplifting. Niberius arrives to mediate, but Clara tricks Iruma into summoning him, transforming him back into his owl form. The three flee while the stall owner traps poor Niberius and demands payment. As they hide, Iruma nervously asks if they're friends, only to learn demons don't have a concept of friendship. They agree to be friends anyway, pioneering a new demonic bond. Meanwhile, Sullivan holds a faculty meeting and announces that Iruma, Clara, and Asmodeus will all be placed in the Misfit Class, a group specifically for problem children. Sullivan explains his master plan. Putting Iruma in a class of troublemakers will help him blend in, and pairing him with Asmodeus and Clara ensures he won't be alone. Immediately, Iruma runs into booby traps set by his new classmates, who had wagered on his survival. He meets Sabnok Sabro, a tall, muscular delinquent, with dreams of becoming the next Demon King. Sabnok explains the 10 demonic ranks, with Yod, 10th, being the strongest, and the Demon King is always chosen from Yod-ranked demons. To determine their ranks, Naberius sets up a dangerous race through a monster-infested valley, warning them to avoid the valley's guardian beast. Most students fly, but Iruma, lacking demon wings, is pushed off a cliff by an impatient Naberius. He's carried by demonic crows and dropped into the guardian's nest, where he discovers the baby is injured. His human blood instantly heals the wound, and the grateful baby flies Iruma to the finish flag as thanks. Meanwhile, Sabnok's attempt to fight the Guardian goes poorly until Iruma arrives on the Guardian's back, having pacified the furious parent by healing its child. Sabnok reveals his motivation. He wants to become Demon King to prove he's better than his pacifist older brother. Despite riding the Guardian, Iruma and Sabnok finish last. At the finish line, Asmodeus places first, with Clara on his shoulders taking second. A mystical rank owl distributes badges. Asmodeus earns Dalet, 4th rank, Clara earns Gimel, 3rd rank, and Sabnok earns Bet, 2nd rank. Iruma receives a mysterious golden ring instead of a badge. Sabnok freaks out, remembering a prophecy about the next Demon King. They'll make demons their servants, heal injuries with their blood, be born a foreigner, and wear Solomon's ring. Suddenly, a black flame demon erupts from the ring and drains power from Iruma's classmates. Naberius moves to sever Iruma's arm, but Sullivan stops him and explains it's actually the gluttonous feeder ring, which eats magic. He pacifies it by feeding it his own power. Iruma defaults to the lowest rank, Aleph, 1st, but his fame, taming the Guardian and possessing a dangerous ring, reaches new heights. Iruma's growing reputation catches the student council's attention. In botany class, students use magic to grow demonic plants. Sabnok creates a feral carnivorous flower, Asmodeus an elegant flame-petaled bloom, and Clara something beyond rational description. Having no magic of his own, Iruma jokes through the spell while thinking of Japan. Sullivan's magic suddenly bursts from the ring. Sullivan forgot to set an output limit. And Iruma's seed explodes into a massive cherry blossom tree that destroys the entire greenhouse. Student Council President Azazel Ameri recognizes it as a human plant and suspects Iruma might be human. She privately reveals most demons think humans don't exist, but her family secretly owns a collection of sacred relics. Japanese manga. Specifically, she's obsessed with a romance series called First Love Memories but can't read Japanese, mistakenly believing it's a manual of human love spells. When Iruma accidentally knocks her over while cleaning cherry blossoms, Ameri recognizes the scene from the manga and concludes Iruma is using human love magic on her. She's convinced he must be human. Iruma and Ameri freeze, both wildly misinterpreting the situation. He thinks she's angry. She thinks they're in a magical love duel. When Ameri drops her First Love Memories manga, Iruma recognizes it. He helped illustrate it for money in the human world. Rather than blow his cover, Ameri drags him to her office and begs him to read it aloud, since he can read Japanese. After an embarrassed reading session, Ameri programs her number into his phone for future reading dates. Iruma contemplates whether he prefers his old life of exploitation or this bizarre new one. Sullivan's servant, Opera, hints it might be possible to visit the human world if Iruma becomes a high-ranking demon. When Ameri summons Iruma again, Asmodeus and Clara become suspicious. Asmodeus assumes Iruma is plotting to take over the student council, while Clara thinks they're excluding her from a fun game. Listening to Ameri's ambitions in First Love Memories makes Iruma realize his pushover personality prevented him from ever having goals of his own. Asmodeus tries stopping Clara from ruining Iruma's master plan. When Iruma struggles to articulate a dream, Ameri encourages him to raise his rank as a starting goal. Clara bursts in to rescue Iruma, assuming Ameri is trying to steal him. As Iruma spends more time with Ameri, Clara grows increasingly jealous. Following Sabnok's advice, she tries using feminine wiles, but she has none. She joins seduction class, where the succubus teacher Rame determines Clara has only 2% sexiness, impossibly innocent. Clara's seduction attempts fail hilariously. Iruma thinks she's playing games, leaving her depressed until her mother's kiss restores her spirits. The next day, Clara tries a kiss attack, but Iruma's superhuman dodging activates and Clara ends up in detention instead. She resigns herself to losing Iruma until he innocently admits he does see her as a girl, restoring her confidence. Rame notes Clara's sexiness has jumped to 10%. Inspired, Iruma decides to get serious about climbing from Aleph, first, to Bet, second rank. Iruma asks Asmodeus for help ranking up. Asmodeus immediately overreacts, planning to make Iruma a Yod, 10th, and conquer the school, but Iruma insists he'd be happy with Bet, 2nd. The best path forward is the upcoming rank promotion exam based on Execution Cannonball, Dangerous Demon Dodge Ball. Iruma assumes his dodging skills will help until he realizes everyone else can use their demonic powers. He asks Sullivan for training and learns he could use his ring's magic, but decides to compete with his own strength instead. Sullivan reinforces Iruma's hands, and Opera handles the physical training. Iruma struggles. His instinct is to dodge, not catch, but refuses to give up. Asmodeus and Clara join the training. After a week, Iruma still can't catch consistently, but Opera assures Sullivan that Iruma is genuinely having fun. Finally, Iruma successfully catches the ball. Opera declares him ready. Exam day arrives. Naberius explains, "Defeat opponents to raise your rank, but only if your team wins." Asmodeus is on the opposing team, but secretly plans to help Iruma. The match descends into chaos as students unleash their powers. Clara floods the court with duplicate balls, but Iruma catches the real one, then realizes he never learned to throw. Sabnok attacks the seemingly distracted Asmodeus, who reflexively strikes Sabnok out. Asmodeus continues eliminating players without thinking until only he and Iruma remain. Torn between helping Iruma and respecting his hard work, Asmodeus decides to throw at full power. Ameri arrives to watch. Iruma overcomes his fear and catches the devastating throw, but unable to stop its momentum, he spins in a circle and redirects the ball back at Asmodeus, striking him out with his own power. Impressed by the tactic, Naberius promotes Iruma to Bet, 2nd rank. Ameri congratulates him on finding ambition, while an emotional Sullivan realizes he contributed almost nothing to Iruma's success. New teacher Balls Robin lectures the Misfit Class on bonding with familiars. Asmodeus summons his Gorgon snake, Sabnok his Kelby horse, and Clara her mysterious Falfal. When Balsi says, "Please," Iruma reluctantly summons a furious Naberius. Balsi reminds Iruma he must follow the familiar rules, written by Naberius himself. Naberius grudgingly decides to make Iruma the best summoner, even if it means playing embarrassing trust-building games. Iruma sincerely apologizes, prompting Naberius to ask why he didn't summon him against the Valley Guardian. Iruma explains, so neither Naberius nor the Guardian would get hurt. When Asmodeus and Sabnok's familiars start fighting, Naberius defeats both and lectures the class that familiars are powerful, violent monsters only controlled by their contracts. Naberius also forces Balsi to rethink his overly simplistic teaching methods. Iruma learns about battlers, student groups with shared interests that help members raise ranks, similar to school clubs. Hoping to find a new goal and raise his rank, Iruma decides to join one. Asmodeus preps him for the Rookie Hunt, an insanely terrifying stampede where senior students aggressively recruit first years into their battlers. The hunt begins, and most seniors target Asmodeus. The recruitment process is so brutal that first years face actual physical danger. Ameri and the student council monitor the chaos while Iruma realizes Ameri is the council president. She shocks everyone by inviting Iruma to join the council's battler. Nefarious announces a 3-day trial period where students can test multiple battlers before committing. Clara shows repeated interest in Rhyme's succubus battler. His ring suddenly activates, dragging him through the air and dropping him on Kiriwo, recruiter for the magical Apparatus battler, whose necklace is made from the same metal as the ring. Iruma visits several dangerous and unsuitable battlers. Sullivan upgrades the ring with selectable power levels: Devil, Demon, Ifrit, and an emergency-only level called Pandarula. After testing it at the execution Cannonball battler, Ameri texts Iruma, reminding him to visit the council before the trial ends. Iruma gets caught in an explosion caused by one of Kiriwo's experiments. The council members question Ameri's sudden enthusiasm for recruitment. Iruma texts that he can't visit after Kiriwo's explosion, and Ameri assumes discovering she's the president scared him away. Kiriwo explains he researches and creates magical items, but his weak magic prevents him from using his own inventions. His goal: allow weaker demons to stand against stronger ones who mistreat them. Moved by this, Iruma joins his battler, followed by Clara and Asmodeus. Iruma does eventually visit the student council, to Ameri's delight, but only to explain he joined another battler. With the trial period over, the school prepares for the battler party, where battlers welcome recruits and meet parents. Sullivan must attend the 13's dinner, a meeting of the Netherworld's 13 greatest demons. They're concerned the Netherworld is descending into chaos without a demon king, and believe it's time to crown either Sullivan, Levi, or Belial. Levi and Belial agree Sullivan should take the throne, but Sullivan refuses because ruling would mean less time with Iruma. Henry, one of the 13 and Ameri's father, is forced to arrest Sullivan after receiving evidence that Sullivan illegally visited the human world. Sullivan undergoes questioning by Demon Border Control, while first years panic about their parents visiting. Sullivan appoints Nefarious temporary director as the staff wonders what he did. Kiriwo reveals all battlers give presentations competing for prizes, but the magical Apparatus battlers' tiny budget gives them no chance, until Iruma suggests creating fireworks. Since testing requires darkness, Kiriwo proposes staying at school overnight. While creating gunpowder, Kiriwo reveals he can create magical barriers, the only reason he survives his explosions. Iruma borrows Manga from Ameri so Kiriwo can see what fireworks should look like. She initially refuses, but agrees when she realizes she'll get to see real fireworks. After successfully creating fireworks, they have an exhausting pillow fight, utilizing Iruma's dodging and Kiriwo's barriers. Later, Kiriwo is contacted by a powerful lightning-wielding demon named Baal, who reveals he arranged Sullivan's arrest and has been plotting with Kiriwo to create a machine to destroy the school. The battler party will last 3 days. First place prize, rank increases for members, and a double increase for the president. Kiriwo continues working on his machine, which flashbacks reveal he could only complete thanks to Iruma's help. His powerful demon ally plans to use it to kill as many students as possible. Iruma's ring drags him through the air to Kiriwo's hidden workshop on the school roof, behind one-way soundproof glass. Kiriwo reveals his plan to help the weak stand up to the strong, involves the school bell, which will ring to start the party. Still not understanding, Iruma urges Kiriwo to win first prize with their fireworks to prove strength isn't everything. Kiriwo seems pleased they're so alike. With preparations complete, the battler party is ready to begin, to Kiriwo's twisted delight. Party Eve begins, the festival night before main competitions. Since fireworks need darkness, Iruma scouts the competition. He accidentally knocks out the yakisoba battler by devouring their ogre-sized serving, leaving them ingredientless. His main competitors are the new magic battler, conjuring water from stone, game battler, virtual reality hats, underwater circus, and magic beast battles. Asmodeus reveals they'll launch their main firework when the school bell rings to signal the competition start. Clara accidentally lights a fuse, and when it misfires, they realize their biggest firework is missing. Kiriwo takes the stolen firework to his workshop. Meanwhile, Baal gives Ameri's father evidence of Sullivan kidnapping Iruma. As sunset approaches, Kiriwo destroys his necklace, covering the school with self-repairing barriers that trap people. Iruma finds himself separated from Asmodeus and Clara as Kiriwo begins his attack. Sullivan senses the barriers. Nabarius realizes they're self-repairing, meaning they were cast by a Tet, 9th rank, and can likely only be fully destroyed by a Yod, 10th rank, like Sullivan, meaning his arrest was planned. Nabarius moves by breaking barriers and racing through before they repair. He has another teacher announce the barriers are a surprise maze event to prevent panic. When students easily reach the courtyard, Nabarius worries they're being manipulated. Kiriwo loads the firework into his school destroyer machine, but realizes Iruma is heading toward him, somehow finding the way despite the destroyed necklace. Flashback. Asmodeus deduced Kiriwo planned this for years and uses a school map +1 of Kiriwo's devices, copied by Clara, to guide Iruma through the barriers. Nabarius identifies Kiriwo as the suspect and orders his capture. Part of the school collapses, and Ameri saves a student from death. Iruma finally reaches the lab. Iruma reaches the workshop where Kiriwo reveals his plan to destroy the school with the firework. Kiriwo explains the Ami family is famous for barriers and magical strength, but he was born with weak magic and sent to the Garden of Delinquents. Despite being bullied, he made a friend. But when bullies threw her earring in a river, his barrier failed to catch it, devastating her. That moment revealed his perverse enjoyment of watching people's despair. Baal, who believes demons have become too nice compared to their evil past, helped Kiriwo plan to destroy Babyls as a symbol of their weakened society. Kiriwo anticipates enjoying Iruma's despair when Clara and Asmodeus die. However, Iruma calmly removes the firework, seeming unconcerned. He explains that thanks to his childhood, he almost never feels despair anymore. Kiriwo realizes they're nothing alike. Iruma unlocks his ring's Ifrit mode to throw the fireworks skyward, but it hits the barrier. With the explosion seconds away, Iruma breaks his promise to Sullivan and unlocks Pandarula mode, obliterating the barrier and exploding the firework in the sky, where it delights all the watching students. With Iruma passed out, Kiriwo saves him from falling off the roof. Despite raging that his plan is ruined, Kiriwo admits defeat and acknowledges Iruma is a better demon than he is. Balse Robin used archery magic to shoot a warning note to Sullivan. Sullivan broke out of prison and witnessed Iruma use Pandarula to destroy the barrier, forcing Sullivan to save the school from falling debris. The teachers apprehend Kiriwo, though he warns Iruma to beware other demons wanting an evil society. Demon Border Control takes him for interrogation. Sullivan shows Iruma that his firework was immensely popular with students, though Ameri scolds him for not watching it together with her. Iruma shares credit for the firework with Asmodeus, Clara, and Kiriwo. As the battler party officially starts, students vote for their favorite battlers while parents arrive. Iruma prepares remaining fireworks before meeting 4 of Clara's 5 siblings and her equally eccentric mother. Asmodeus is caught by his embarrassing mother, Amaryllis, a demon lord of seduction, who showers him with love and affection. Sullivan and Opera arrive to attend with Iruma, causing general chaos. As the sun sets, they launch the fireworks, and Iruma declares his new family his pride and joy, before insisting on a photograph with Sullivan and Opera. With voting complete, the battler party winner is decided. The closing spectacular begins with prize distribution. The succubus battler receives an upgraded club room, the new magic battler a year's supply of black holy water, and the broadcast battler wins the grand prize of rank increases. Nabarius announces an extra award has been created. 1 battler member will gain 1 rank. The winners are the magical Apparatus battler, despite being disqualified due to Kiriwo's schemes, with Iruma receiving the rank increase to Gimel, third rank. Iruma worries he spent too much time standing out instead of hiding. Ameri's father Henri takes interest in Iruma. Ameri summons Iruma to read manga, but rushes out upon seeing her father. Henri confronts Iruma, not understanding Sullivan's attachment. He tells Iruma he met a human once and legally returned them to the human world. He begins asking if Iruma wants to go home, but is interrupted by Ameri, who recounts all Iruma's achievements and claims he's an outstanding demon. Suspicious, Henri asks how Ameri knows Iruma, and she awkwardly blurts out, they spend time alone talking about love, shocking Henri into semi-consciousness. Asmodeus and Clara tell Iruma they know something happened with Kiriwo, but will wait for him to explain. Iruma decides he doesn't want to return to the human world and must work harder at hiding his human identity. Iruma's rank increase gets more newspaper coverage than Kuromu, a popular Dem-dol, demon idol. Asmodeus explains Dem-dols are vital because teenage demons go through an evil cycle of destructive behavior, so entertainment distracts them and converts impulses into healthy excitement. Kuromu is revealed to be Crocelle, a quiet Misfit Class girl embarrassed by her cute idol persona. Despite her siblings being academically superior, Crocelle found demons treated her kindly because she was cute, so she became Kuromu to beat her siblings and earn a higher rank than her mother. However, Iruma has been in newspapers more often, making her jealous. At her next concert, she furiously realizes Iruma is in the audience with tickets from the broadcast battler. Coincidentally, Iruma wins a ticket to meet Kuromu in person. A furious Crocelle struggles to keep her identity secret, but Iruma already knew due to her distinctive hands. Since her glasses contain identity detection warding, Crocelle assumes Iruma is a superfan to notice such details. She's surprised when Iruma admits he's jealous of how well she stays hidden while he's tired of accidentally standing out. Realizing Iruma is more popular without trying upsets her more, and she passes out with a fever from overusing her ice magic. Crocelle's manager Mal decides to cancel the show since cooling Crocelle's body requires a family member, none arriving in time. Ameri attends with a ticket from her father, working security. Crocelle has a nightmare about disappointing her family, then wakes past her stage time only to realize Iruma saved the show by dressing as a girl and performing an opening act with Clara and Asmodeus dressed as Dem-dols, allowing Crocelle to recover. Ameri suspects the Dem-dol looks like Iruma, but convinces herself it's impossible. Crocelle realizes Iruma, who hates standing out, went on stage to save her career and decides he isn't so bad. She thanks him but forces him to perform the entire concert. Afterwards, Mal reveals Crocelle's family actually came to help while she slept, making her incredibly happy. Mal secretly tells Iruma her family loves her and watches every concert on TV but can't attend in person because they also pass out when overexcited. At school, Crocelle warns Iruma to keep her identity secret, but asks if they can still be friends despite hating the attention female Iruma got in newspapers. Iruma predicts a normal day. After breakfast with Sullivan, he watches Asmodeus and Clara race to school, has homeroom with Niberius, and attends normal lessons. After school, he reads Ameri more manga containing lines about keeping secrets. Ameri remembers the female Dem-dol who looked like Iruma and nervously asks if he has anything bothering him. He says no. When handing him a snack, she touches his hand and her heart beats wildly. Iruma goes home, bathes, has dinner with Sullivan, then goes to bed, but suddenly realizes he now fits into demon society and it no longer bothers him. He becomes unusually withdrawn considering Henri's offer to erase his memory and send him home. Asmodeus and Clara decide food will cheer him up and sneak into the kitchen, but they argue and decide both will make meals to see which Iruma prefers. Clara misunderstands her mother's claim that love is the most important ingredient and lovingly crafts a bizarre meal, while Asmodeus creates an elegant fish dish despite having ichthyophobia. In the morning, Iruma finds both dishes work together to become even tastier. Asmodeus and Clara are forced to agree after trying both and declare it a draw, becoming friends again, though they're arguing again minutes later. Iruma finally decides he wants to stay in the Netherworld after all.